Sarah had always been a distant memory from my past, a chapter closed over a decade ago. Yet, unbeknownst to me, she had kept the fragments of our shared history close, weaving them into the fabric of her present. Through the lens of nostalgia, she painted a vivid portrait of who she believed I was, a reflection of the person she once knew. Despite the years that had passed and the miles that separated us, Sarah clung to the remnants of our connection, clinging to the image of the person she remembered. She followed my online presence with an unwavering devotion, piecing together the scattered glimpses of my life, constructing a narrative that suited her perception of who I should be. In her mind, she knew me intimately, as though we had never drifted apart. She confided in me through the screen, sharing her deepest thoughts and emotions, unaware of the chasm that separated us. Our interactions were one-sided, a monologue masquerading as a dialogue, fueled by her longing for a connection that no longer existed. Despite her earnest efforts to bridge the divide, Sarah remained trapped in the confines of our parasocial relationship. Unable to transcend the barriers of time and distance, and as I watched from afar, I couldn't help but wonder if she was searching for solace in the fragments of our past, or simply chasing ghosts of a person I once was. Sarah's unwavering attachment to our past selves left me perplexed. Who'd even given her permission to hold on to a version of me that no longer existed? I had evolved, transformed by the passage of time and the trials of life. The person she remembered from our school days was but a fragment of who I had become. As I reflected on the stark contrast between then and now, I couldn't fathom why Sarah felt she knew me personally. I had walked paths that she could never have imagined, faced challenges that had reshaped my very being. There were depths of my soul she would never uncover, secrets I guarded fiercely from prying eyes. Yet, despite the chasm that separated us, Sarah clung to the illusion of intimacy, blurring the lines between fantasy and reality. Our parasocial relationship had forged a bond that felt very uncomfortably close, considering the absence of any genuine connection. I found myself grappling with the paradox of our proximity, questioning how two souls could be so intertwined after years of estrangement. And as I wrestled with some of those thoughts, I couldn't help but wonder if Sarah's longing for closeness stemmed not from a desire to know me as I am, but from a yearning to reclaim the familiarity of a bygone era. Sarah's steadfast attachment to a version of me long gone served as a stark reminder of the importance of taking control of my personal paradigm. It was a testament to the power we hold in shaping our own narratives and defining our identities. In realizing this disparity between Sarah's perception of me and the reality of who I had become, I found liberation in releasing the shackles of parasocial relationships. I understood that true connection could only flourish in the fertile soil of authenticity and mutual understanding. By reclaiming ownership of my story and embracing the evolution of myself, I shattered the illusion of intimacy built upon a foundation of nostalgia. I recognized that the past was nothing but a stepping stone on the journey of self-discovery, not a tether binding me to outdated perceptions. In letting go of parasocial relationships, I reclaimed agency over my narrative, forging genuine connections rooted in the present moment. I understood that true intimacy blossoms from a place of vulnerability and shared experience, not from the confines of a curated online persona. As I charted my course forward, I embraced the freedom that comes from releasing attachments to outdated versions of self and embracing the ever-unfolding tapestry of life. And in doing so, I discovered the true essence of connection, authentic, unfiltered, and deeply fulfilling. For those of you who don't know what a parasocial relationship, it's a one-sided relationship where an individual feels a deep sense of connection and intimacy with a public figure, celebrity, or media persona, despite there being no actual interaction or personal relationship between them. In parasocial relationships, the individual may develop strong emotional attachments, feeling of friendship, or even romantic attraction towards the person they admire, based solely on their portrayal in the media or online presence. However, the public figure is typically unaware of this individual's experience or their existence, and the relationship is entirely imagined or perceived by the individual. These relationships are often characterized by a sense of intimacy and familiarity of the part of the individual, despite there being no reciprocal interaction or genuine connection from the public figure. And think of it this way: it's 2024, and in our own rights, we are all public figures, especially if you have your social media platforms public. You literally do not know who comes across your page. At this current moment on Instagram, I have 181 followers and I follow 38 people. Yet my dashboard shows me that I've reached 439 accounts within the last 30 days. Out of all of those people, I can say for a fact that I do know a lot of them are people that I have disconnected from, and God knows what narratives they could be out in the world spinning and, just curating based off of, oh yeah, I do know her, or I don't know why she cut me off, or I don't know why she took me off of her social media platform. So when it comes to parasocial relationships, it's one-sided because you do not know that they're happening. So now we are going to talk about how to unsubscribe from parasocial relationships and actually cultivate genuine connections within like-minded communities. First things first, you can take inventory of your online interactions and identify any potential parasocial relationships that might be consuming your energy without providing genuine connection. So you're going to want to go on your Instagram, your Twitter account, your TikTok, and really just look first and foremost to those people from school. Whether that's elementary, middle school, high school, college, if it's been more than 5 years since you're out of those phases, feel free to disconnect. If you don't talk to them every day, if you don't send them holiday greetings, or you don't care to see what they have going on, that's probably a parasocial relationship. And you can even tune in and see if you're engaged with any parasocial relationships yourself. How about that girl you haven't seen since 2015, but you did know her, so you respond to her story all the time, but she literally hasn't responded? Yeah, you're engaged in a parasocial relationship and you didn't even know it. The next thing you can do is establish clear boundaries around your online presence, including who you interact with and how much time you spend engaging with their content that would perpetuate the parasocial relationship. Assess which social media platforms contribute positively to your life and which ones foster parasocial relationships. Consider reducing or eliminating your presence on platforms that do not serve your well-being. And with a lot of people personally, I know that happens to be Facebook. I haven't had a active Facebook since I want to say 2018 or 2019, and it's pretty much for the same reasons of this video here. People feeling super engaged with your life when they know nothing about you. At that time, I had several life changes, and you might post a picture and then you get hundreds of interactions of people just heart eyes or hey, you look so good whole time, I'm fighting for my life. So definitely evaluate how and when you use those platforms. At first, it was beneficial because I am a first-generation American, meaning that a lot of my family members are not in the country, and that is a safe space I choose to share with them so, they can keep up with my milestones. But I grew out of that phase, and so I disconnected from the platform altogether. Moving from there, seek out online communities that align with your interests and values. Look for groups focused on genuine connection and meaningful discourse rather than idolization or one-sided relationships. And so for me, I ventured towards a spiritual space, people who were talking about the things that I was interested in. And I will say, enter those spaces with heavy discernment, okay? Just because it's a community doesn't mean that it's something that even holds up to your moral standards. So you definitely want to do your due diligence of seeing who and what you're getting yourself involved in before you do it. Further than that, participate in online discussions and interactions authentically, sharing your thoughts, experiences, and perspective openly with others. And of course, always be respectful, but encourage genuine dialogue and connection within those communities you choose to engage. Then you want to prioritize building relationships with offline people who have like-minded interests. You can attend local meetups, events, or workshops related to your interests just to connect with others on a more personal level. Be willing to show vulnerability and authenticity in your interactions, both online and offline. Share your true self with others and invite them to do the same, which fosters a sense of deep connection based on mutual understanding. You could also encourage and support the growth and development of your connections within the community. Celebrate each other's successes, offer guidance and assistance when needed, which comes along with creating that safe space, which requires vulnerability. That vulnerability will allow everyone to feel valued and supported. And from time to time, it is okay, and you should be periodically evaluating the quality of your connections and interactions, both offline and online. If certain relationships and communities no longer serve your growth or well-being, it's pretty safe to say don't hesitate and to make changes as needed. And more than that, it's definitely a good thing for you to just garner a deep sense of gratitude, especially when it comes to your past connections. Express gratitude for the connections that came before the intentional ones, yes, the ones like Sarah, acknowledging their role in your journey of self-discovery. Reflect on whether or not they've shaped your understanding and the level of comfortability that you desire with meaningful connections. Give thanks for the lessons that you learned and the clarity that you gained from those experiences, because they did guide you to where you want to be, those intentional, genuine connections that actually align with your values and aspirations. By honoring the past, you can move forward with a very deep understanding of yourself and a clearer vision of the connections you want to cultivate and move forward with in your life.